My name is Skylar Garcia. I'll just be doing a presentation on education in Pakistan. Okay, so there are 6 different levels in the Pakistan education program. There's preschool, which is ages 3 through 5, primary grades 1 through 5, middle, which is grades 6 through 8, high, which is grades 9 through 10, intermediate, which is grades 11 and 12, and then the university for undergraduate and graduate degrees, respectively. Okay. And so there are some problems found in this system, kind of not necessarily like in the system, but just in their education. And so these are kind of what's been going on. So lower class citizens living in rural areas do not have as ready access to good schools. And then the funding for development of better schools is very minimal. So these are the top 2 reasons that I found that lead to all the other causes or affect all the other effects of poor education in Pakistan. Okay, and so schools are not readily available to all citizens. So those living in rural parts of the nation are not able to get access to schools. Um, so as you can see on this graph here, that still over 60% of the population is in rural areas. And so if there's a problem with getting good quality education um, and schooling to the majority of the population, obviously the mass the country as a whole is going to suffer because of that. And so many parents want their kids in a private school, but due to high costs of attendance, this makes it only available to high class families. So typically, like a private schools in Pakistan are better in that they do teach kids better, but you do have to pay for them, and so that makes it very difficult for people who are not do not have a lot of money. Okay, so funding. So funding is currently at 2.4% of the GDP. Um, is spent on education. 89% of that is used for reoccurring expenses, mainly for teacher salaries. And then only 11% of spending is used for development. Um, and so this is huge because how is education in Pakistan going to get better if they aren't spending any money to make it better? Development is more schools, better curriculum, figuring out ways how they can improve those. And so then also military spending is estimated 5% of the GDP. And so that's over double of what is being spent on the military. Yeah, so it's over double what's spent on education, which is huge. There's not funds for them to get improvements. Okay. And literacy rate in Pakistan is at 54%, which is extremely low compared to many other countries throughout the world. And so with higher costs of living, dropout rates are higher than ever. There's so many dropouts nowadays in Pakistan, and so I'm going to go a little bit more into depth on that in the next slide. But discrimination is created because those living in rural areas are seen as uneducated. And so this is a problem because obviously you don't want to discriminate against certain people just because of where they live, and also what's even worse than that is that women living in those areas is dropped even lower. Their education level is so much lower than men is. So due to no funding going into development of better schools, literacy rates are decreasing. The population of Pakistan is continuing to grow, but they're not developing better systems and a better way to, um, like they're not developing better schools, and so they're not teaching their kids. And so because the population is getting more, and they're not teaching anyone any better, this it's just continued to be going down because people are not being educated, and so graduates from Pakistan cannot compete at a global level, so they're not producing good students is a big thing. Not a single university has made it into the top 500 universities in the world, which is ridiculous. Crazy that um, they are not, they haven't been able to produce very solid university in Pakistan. So even those who go to universities are not able to compete, are not able to be represented at a global level because they're not getting a good quality education. So students are not learning in schools either. and so I'll go a little bit more into that. So here's some of the dropout rates. Most children who start school drop out at age 9. So as you can see on the graph here, it's a direct correlation of basically of how much money you have is the chance that you're going to drop out or that you're going to continue to go on. And so only 3% of children who started school end up graduating from grade 12. That is unreal that only 3% end up actually finishing the school before going into university. And so little is taught. Only half of Pakistanis who complete 5 years of school are literate. And so literate, by the definition, is if you can write your name. And so that's crazy that you are not able to do that after 5 years of school. And so that goes right into the next one of having corrupt teachers. They'll take salary and they're not going to teach students. And so this is a big problem that if the teachers are not teaching students in school, if they're not being proactive about things, then obviously the students are not going to be taught anything. They're not going to improve. And so a big focus, like they're getting improper training. They're not getting the correct training, and they're not performing to the level that they should be. Also, just a side note on here, just you can see the rate of girls of women in that of the rate of dropping out of women, and so in poor areas, and so it's the lowest out of all of them. And so there you go. And so here's my sources. And so thank you for watching. I think that this is one of the biggest things, that if they improve the education, the economy of Pakistan will increase, and it's the biggest thing that they can do for the future of Pakistan. Thank you.